bago natin simulan ang design ng flat belt, inaalam muna natin kung saan natin ang basis ng design. Whether the design will be based on smaller or larger pulley. But in a V-belt, wala na tayong ganong condition because the base of design will always be on this one. Ito palagi ang basis of the design natin. Kung saan meron tayong maliit na sheave o pulley or the driving sheave that we are calling. Okay? So again, sa V-belt, do not determine anymore the base of design because that will always be in terms of the small sheave or the driving sheave that we have. Okay, yun ang condition natin. Now, so how do we now determine the design of a V-belt? Alright, sa V-belt natin, okay, before determining or before we can start with the design, with the whole design, or before using the equation that we have in terms of V-belt, we need to determine first, okay, the section of belt. Okay? So, kailangan, pag nag-design tayo ng V-belt, determine first, okay, ang unang-una, determine first the section of the belt. Because if you do not know the section of the belt, therefore all equation that we will be using, okay, in terms of the V-belt, hindi natin pwedeng gamitin. Why? Because all of those equations will be dependent upon the section of the belt. So the very first thing that you need or that's required for you to determine is determine first the section of the belt. Ano yung section natin? Parang ano lang yan. Sa mga section, A, B, C, D, and E. So these are now what we term as the section of the belt. Okay? Yan ang gamit natin dyan. But how do we determine the section of the belt? Alright, para malaman natin yan, we determine it by using this particular equation. Una, to determine this one, determine first yung design horsepower of the belt. Okay? Bakit natin kailangan computing design horsepower? Since the belt or the V-belt is in a form of flexible transmitting device, sometimes you have to consider certain condition in order for you to make sure that the efficiency of the belt will be higher. So, ang ginagawa natin, meron tayong motor horsepower o meron tayong motor power, aakyatin pa natin ng konti yan, dadagdagan pa natin ng konti yan, but a certain factor, para parang pinalalaki natin. Bakit natin pinalalaki? That is to consider everything that is now required in the design of a V-belt. So first, determine the design horsepower. How do you determine that? You use now the transmitted horsepower multiplied by the service factor. Ano yung transmitted natin? So yung transmitted natin, ito yung driving motor, okay? Or engine. Andito ngayon yung tinatawag natin na horsepower, input, di ba? Input natin yan, nagsisimula. This is now what we term as the transmitted horsepower, meaning from this, you transmit it to this one. Okay? So, all you need to do now is determine the transmitted horsepower, then multiply this by a certain service factor. Ano yung service factor natin? So this time, we are dependent upon the table. If you go to table 17.7 of your textbook, that is where we can determine the service factor. What's the service factor? The service factor actually is an allowance that we use, okay, based on certain conditions of the driving and driven pulley. Okay, pulley sheave. Bakit natin nagkakaroon ng service factor? Parang nilalakihan natin, parang kumbaga sa ano, yan tatawag natin ha, design factor or factor of safety. You give an allowance. Okay, bakit tayo nagbibigay ng allowance? That is to consider everything. Okay, make sure that the drive will be okay. So from table 17.7, you can determine the values of the service factor. And those values, take note, are, okay, dimensionless. Walang unit yan. Pwedeng 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, and so on. Now, so ano yung makikita natin dun sa service factor natin? How do we determine this one? Isa natawag natin na table 17.7. Dapat, ang kailangan natin, alam natin yung driving, okay, type of driving sheave o driving pulley. Okay? Driving sa motor, driving engine. Okay? And also the what? Yung type of driven. Okay? Type ng driven. So, from that, you can determine the corresponding value for the service factor. So, ano yun? Ito yung type of machine natin. Diba? So, table 7.7 ha? So, we are now dependent for this one. So, ito yung driving machine. Pamimili ka rito o depende kung ano binigay ng problem. And this one is a type of driven machine. Okay? So, if this will be my type of driving machine, and this will be my driven machine, corresponding to that is the value of the service factor. So, pwede siyang mag-range ng between 1.1 to 1.8. Depende na. Okay? Now, so allowance natin yan. Okay? For any changes that might appear in terms of the design. So knowing the service factor, alam na natin service factor na yan, you multiply it now to the transmitted horsepower. And you will be getting now what we term as the design HP. Now, so since the base of the design will be on the smaller shift, using the service factor as well as the RPM of small shift, in N. Okay? Small shift. The driving shift natin. Using these two value, you can now determine the section of the belt. Okay? So, kung alam natin yung transmitted horsepower, diba, yung transmitted horsepower, knowing this one, yung design horsepower natin, knowing this, okay, as well as this one, we can now determine the section of the belt. Okay, ang kailangan lang natin yung design HP at saka yung RPM ng small shift. Having that value, you go now to figure 17.14. Punta ka dun sa 17.14. Graph yan. Nandiyan sa table din yan. Okay? So go now to figure 17.14 bago sa table 17.7. Before that, mayroon kayo makikitang graph. Okay? Dito ba? Yun. Okay? So anong page yan?
457.
So page 457 of your textbook, that is where we can determine the figure or the section of the belt. Now, ano yung figure? Ito ngayon yung kailangan natin na table para malaman natin yung section of belt. Diyan natin malalaman kung A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? Alright, paano yung table? Yan pa lang ha. So this table actually will be this one. Ito yung design HP. Ito ngayon yung RPM ng small shift. Okay? So knowing your design HP, okay, and knowing the RPM of the small shift, intersect the two value. Okay? Kung saan sila nag-intersect, ito ngayon yung section of the belt that we have, because that is now subdivided into certain sections. Let's say A, B, C, D, and E. Alagay. Okay? So kung saan sila nag-intersect, yan ngayon ang magiging section ng belt ninyo. Okay? Now, you will notice also from that graph, or from that graph, okay, for each section of the belt, there is corresponding value of width and thickness. Standard na, given na to. Okay? So, meron siyang standard width and thickness na given. Okay? Yan na yan. Palagay natin, if you are using now a section C V-belt, ano yung width and thickness niya? The first number corresponds to the width, and the second number corresponds to the thickness of the belt. Okay? So, palagay natin section C. Ang nakalagay sa kanya ay
7/8.
7 over
8.
8 by
17/32.
17 over
32.
32. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung width, ito yung thickness ng belt natin. Okay? So, yan na yan. So, pag alam mo yung section ng belt, okay, ang malalaman kagad ay yung size ng belt in terms of the width and in terms of the thickness. So, hindi mo na kailangan computin yan kasi given na yan. Standard na yan. Standard na. Now, so after knowing the section of the belt, okay, by this one, ganito lang now. Makikita natin na you will notice that this graph actually will be subdivided by certain line. Diba? May mga linyang ganyan. So, palagay natin, ito yung RPM small shift, ito yung design horsepower, get intersection, kung saan siya pumasok. Kaya yun ang magiging section ng belt natin. What if, okay, the intersection will be something like this one. Ito yung N, ito yung design. Palagay natin dito sa tumama mismo, sa linya. Okay? So, the intersection is actually on the line. Dito mismo. Okay? Anong section ang gagamitin? Kasi kung ganito, okay lang sana yan. Walang problema. Eksakto agad. What if, okay, the intersection falls exactly on the line? Okay? Anong gagamitin nyo? Alright. Pag ganito, nasa linya ka mismo, pwede mong gamitin this section or the other section. Either section is okay, no problem. Or probably what you can do is to compute or to determine the higher value, yung pinakamalaki, yun ang gagamitin natin na section. But if I'm going, let's say, dahil sa design natin, ginamit ko A, ginamit ko yung B, okay lang, walang problema yan. Okay? So if your intersection is exactly on the line, you can choose either this or this one. Okay? Now, dalawa yan. Meron siyang dotted line din yan. So parang ganun din yun. Okay? Adjustment lang. May dotted line lang yan. Walang problema yan. Solid or dotted, that's okay. Okay? Walang problema. Right? So, again, repeating ha. You cannot use all of this equation without determining the section of the belt. So it's very, very important for us to determine first the section of the belt. Now, after you have determined the section of the belt, the next thing that you need to do now is to compute for the rated horsepower per belt or per strand. So ang unang assumption natin, hindi natin alam kung ilang belt ang gagamitin natin. Pwede siyang 1, pwedeng 2, pwedeng 3, and so on. Okay, but if I'm going to consider one belt or one strand, isa lang, I can determine the amount of power that will be delivered by that one strand of a belt. And to compute for that, you will be using that particular equation. Okay? Nasa libod din natin yan. So, rated H will be equivalent now to A times equality 10 to the cube all over V sub M raised to 0.09 minus C all over KD times D E V sub M squared over 10 to the 6 times Vm all over 10 to the 3. Okay, now, ano yung AC and E? AC and E represents now the belt constant. Okay? Doon sa equation natin na yan, ang A, C, and E represents now the belt constant. Okay? For each section of the belt. So it means that if I'm going to use that equation, I need to determine this one so that I can determine this value. Okay? Wala kasing pwedeng hulaan yan. Kasi yan ay nagdidepend sa belt section. And where do we determine that one? Go now to table 17.3 of your textbook. Table 17.3. Okay? So, yung kasunod lang. Ayun, magkakasama yan. Alright. Ito siya. Ito yung table 17.3 natin. Okay? So, note that table 17.3 is subdivided into different section. A to D. Pag E siya, pwede nang gamitin yung D. Okay? Kasi wala siyang E rito. Pwede gamitin na yung D. Right? So, pag alam mo yung belt section, you can determine the section of the belt, yung value. Saan natin makikita? Yun, nasa ilalim. Okay? Ayun, actually, A, B, E nakalagay sa kanya. Actually, A, B, and C yan. A, C, and E. Okay? So, A, C, and E, A, C, and E. Nakama na siguro doon. So, notice ha, pagpalagyan natin. Ang section A ka, ang A mo ay 2.684, ang C mo ay 5.326, ang E mo ay 0.0136. And everything else will follow. Okay? So, pag alam natin section of belt, determine the belt section. Notice that, doon sa B section, wala nakalagay. So, ano ibig sabihin yan? Wala ba talaga siya? Hindi, pwede, meron yan. So, what is the value for this one sa B section? On the previous page of your textbook, previous page, to that, on page 456, okay? You have now a certain equation, di ba? Ito, which is the same as that one. Then the following equation, using the same parameter, may nakalagay na mga value. So yung value natin yan, yun, para B section. Okay? Ang A ng B section is 4.737. Ang C ng B section ay 13.962. Ang E ng B section is 0.0234. Ito na yun. Okay? This is now for a B section. Talaga yan. Ha? So those are the values for the B section. Okay, do not think that there is no value for AC and E. There is. Just take it from the previous page that you have. Okay, makita natin yan, ha? Alright. Sa B section. Okay, question. For that, question.
Sa A section, typo lang ba yun?
Alin, yung B dyan ay para sa C.
Typo lang.
Alin, typo lang yan. Typo lang yan. Instead sa C, sa A section, ha? Diba, A, B, E nakalagay, dapat A, C, E yan. Okay? Alright, now, so going back to the equation, ano yung V sub M? V sub M is the belt speed. Okay, V sub M is the belt speed, which is equivalent now to 5 Pn all over 12. para ito ay magiging foot per minute. Okay, ano yung D natin? Anong D na to? Diameter ng ano?
Driver.
Driver or small pulley. And this one is what?
Power
RPM na driver natin. Okay, so nasa driver tayo lahat. So this is not given in terms of the belt speed. Okay, now, yung D dyan, yung KD, yung D natin to. Ito is what? Yung D natin. This one. Okay, is what we term as the diameter of the small pulley or the sheave diameter. So ano yung sheave diameter natin? Ito. Okay, this is now your D. Yung tinatawag natin na sheave diameter o kaya kung tawagin niya ay pitch diameter. Okay? So yung pitch diameter or the average diameter. Kasi ito, pag kinuha na sa gitna yan, malalaman natin yung outer diameter at saka yung inner diameter. Ito kasi, okay, yung labas na yan ang outer diameter natin ng sheave. Ito naman yung inner diameter ng sheave. Sa gitna nila is the pitch diameter that we have. Okay? So yung din natin represents the pitch diameter of the driving sheave. Now, so after that, ano kailangan pa natin doon? So alam ko na yung AC and E, alam ko na yung D, alam ko yung V sub M. Now, ano ngayon yung K sub D? So K sub D actually are the correction factors for the diameter. You take it on table 17.4. Okay? Marami ang table yan. Tandaan nyo ha. Okay? Hindi lang isa yan. So pag nalito ka dyan, hindi mo na makakuha yan. Okay? So KD is what we term small diameter factor on table 17.4. So how do you determine that one? Okay, ito siya. Okay? So ang kailangan natin dyan is a ratio. Okay, ratio lang. Between, okay ha? Okay. Ano yung case of D? Para malaman natin ang case of D, you use table 17.4. Okay, to determine the value for this one, compute first for the ratio between D2 all over D1. D2 is for the large pulley, diameter of the large pulley, and D1 is for diameter of the small pulley. Okay? So, pag alam mo to, punta ka doon sa table, ito siya. Ito yung D2 over D1. Okay, ito yung KD. So, yung value nito, hanapin mo rito, and then determine the value for K sub D. Ito yun. Okay? So, hanapin niyo muna. Ang value na to, hindi ang value nun. Okay? Huwag nyo gamitin yung value nito para dun. Kasi yan ay para sa dito lang. Hanapin mo lang muna. So, yung ratio na yan, hanapin mo rito, and then go across, you'll be getting now the value for K sub D. Okay? Yan ang K sub D natin, ha? So, those are the values that you have. Now, so that will be on table 17.4. Okay? Ratio muna, ratio ng diameter, the large and small, go across, you'll be getting now the value for KD. Again, the number is dimensionless. Correction factors lang yan. Now, so everything is known, therefore you can compute for the rated horsepower. So this is the equation for that, ha? And then ginagamit natin empirical equation to determine the rated horsepower. Now, so alam ko na yung rated horsepower. The next thing for me to do is ilang belt ang gagamitin ko. How many belt will be required? Okay? So para malaman natin yan, alam na natin to, yung rated natin, supposing alam ko na yung rated. Rated horsepower, alam ko na yan. Okay? So the next thing now I need to do now is to determine the number of strand or the number of belt. Ilang belt ang gagamitin natin. Okay? All you need to do now is to get the corrected rated horsepower and divide it by your design horsepower, which is now this one. Oh, ginagamit natin. Okay? So this is how we determine the number of strand. Okay? Yung design HP, saan ang galing yan? Dito ang galing, yung design HP natin. Okay? And this one, what about this one? Dito ngayon will be that one. Okay? So yung value na na-compute ko sa rated horsepower, this one, yung value na compute natin ng horsepower, i-correct natin yan. So kailangan natin ng corrected rated horsepower. Okay? Bakit na niko-correct yan? Kasi ang V-belt can adjust. Pwedeng humaba siya, pwedeng umigsi siya, depende. So you need to correct everything. And this will be equivalent now to the rated horsepower, multiply it by a factor, K theta, multiply it by K sub L. Okay? So maraming correction yan. So, now, what is now this one? Ito na yun. Yun, yung nakawa na kanina. Diba? Yan yan. Itatawag natin na rated HP. And then, you correct that by multiplying it by your K theta and your K sub L. What is K theta? This will be the arc of contact factor. Okay? And K sub L is the arc belt length. Length of belt factor. Okay, mga correction factor yan. Alright. This can be taken on table 17.5. This will be taken on table 17.6. Okay, mga table yan, ha? So, table 17.5, table 17.6. So, those are the tables that we use. Now, how do we determine each of them? Okay? Paano yung K theta? Alright. Ang K theta natin can be determined on table 17.5. Kung ito yung table, okay, subdivide the column yan. Alright, ano yun? Una, ito will be the ratio between D2 minus D1 all over the center line distance. Get the ratio. Ratio muna, ha? Larger diameter minus small diameter all over the center line distance. And then, knowing that ratio, dito natin malalaman yung K theta natin. Bakit dalawa yan? Kasi depende kung anong klaseng V-belt ang ginagamit. Kung V-flat o kaya double V. Kaya makikita niya, may nakalagay dyan, ano? V-flat at saka yung VV. Okay? Now, if the program or if you decide did not state what type of V-belt you're using, you always use the V-flat. Okay? Pag walang sinabi, always use the V-flat. Now, so determine that. So pag alam natin to, yung ratio na yan, get that, you'll be getting the value for K sub D or this one. Malalaman yung value ng KD o K theta. Okay? Based on the ratio. Okay, now, kung hindi eksakto yung problem o hindi eksakto yung ratio, just like in this one or this one, you can interpolate. Pwede kayo mag-interpolate. Or, depende. You can take the higher number or the lower number. Okay, depende, ha? So, yan ang pagkuha natin ng K theta. Now, what about K sub L? K sub L is the length of belt factor taken on table 17.6. Now, anong kailangan natin doon? Kung babalikan natin yan, makikita nyo ganito. Okay? Yan natawag natin ang KL. Alright. So, what is your K sub L? K sub L will be this one. Okay? Table 17.6. Yun ang A, B, C, D, E. These are now what we term as the belt cross-section. Now, these are the values for determining your K sub L. Ito siya. Nasa loob. Yung etong unang column natin dyan represents now the standard length designation. So, how do we use now table 17.6? Before you can use table 17.6, you need to determine first the length of the belt. Kailangan, okay, K sub L. Determine first the length of belt. How do you determine the length of the belt? Depende. If it's an open belt, okay, you use that. That's an open belt. But if it's a cross belt, ano mangyayari? Pag cross belt na kasi, pwede rin cross belt ang V-belt natin. Ano gagawin natin dyan? Sa length ng belt. Pag cross belt. But same equation except what? Ito magiging plus yan, di ba? Kung balikan natin yung yung equation natin sa flat belt. The same din. Same. Okay? So the equation that we are using for the length of the belt for a flat belt can be used also in the same V-belt. Pareho rin sa V-belt. Okay? Kasi pwede siyang open belt, pwede siyang cross belt. Same equation, di ba? Balikan lang natin to. The same equation din siya. Di ba? Ganun din. Ayun. Okay? Now, so determine first the length of the belt. Okay? Alam na natin to. Okay? Ito yung length ng belt natin given in terms of inches. Now, after knowing the length of the belt, alam mo din dapat yung section of belt. Okay? So, you cannot use table 17.6 without determining the section of the belt because it's required. So knowing the length of the belt and knowing the section of the belt, using these two, I can determine the value for K sub L. Okay, now, let's go back to this. Okay, handa kung paano kinukuha to. This is now the section of the belt. Okay, on the upper portion. Okay, now, on the first column, that is where we determine the standard length designation. Notice that, ang sinabi niya, standard length designation, meaning, these are actually the standard length of the belt, which is not equivalent to this one. Okay, kasi pag ito ang ginamit mo, if that's the equation that you have used, okay, from that, ito yung L equivalent of 2C plus pi over 2, D plus D, okay, plus D minus D, squared all over 4C. Yung mako-compute nyo rito is what we term as the computed length of the belt. Okay? Which is not yet the true or the standard length of the belt. So, ang gagawin mo yan is after you have now completed for this one, hanapin mo ngayon itong value dun sa unang column. Yung tinatawag natin standard length designation. Dito mo siya hanapin. So, yung value na yan, dyan mo hanapin. Now, kung walang eksakto, ano gawin? Hindi pwede mag-interpolate sa table na yan. Kasi standard na yan. Okay. Ang V-belt, pwede siyang pataas, pwede siyang mababa. Kung sino yung pinakamalapit na value, dito. Okay? Hindi kagaya ng dati, di ba? The next higher value. This time, it's not. You can use a value which is lower or higher than this one. As long as the value that you have used is very near the computed one, yung pinakamalapit. Okay? Pwedeng mababa, pwedeng mataas. Okay? The value that is very near the computed one, the computed way. So after using that, okay, knowing the section of the belt, lagay natin A, you can determine the value for K sub L. Yun na yun. Okay? Bakit kailangan? Bakit pwedeng mababa, pwedeng mataas? Kasi you can adjust, okay, the center line distance. Depende dun sa conditions natin. That's why you are using what? A flexible power transmitting device. Okay? Flexible siya. So, pwedeng maiksi, pwedeng mahaba siya. Okay, now, so getting the intersection between the standard length designation, that section, you get now the value for KL. Okay, so, table 17.5 or table 17.1, 4, 5. Okay? Table 17.4 and 5, yung K theta at yung KD, pwede kang mag-interpolate from that. Okay? But table 17.6, you are not allowed to interpolate because that's already the standard condition. Standard na yan. That's available in the market. Okay, now, so alam na natin ang KL. Di ba? Alright. Let's go back again to the figure or to the table. Notice that some values are not given. Ito, ganun, di ba? Alright, if in case, the intersection falls on a value on a section na wala siyang value, do not assume 0. Kasi pag nag-0 ka, ano mangyayari sa equation? 0. Di ba? Pag ginamit ko yung dito, ginamit ko doon, no? Corrected, ang KL ko 0. Ano mangyayari? Walang belt. Di ba? Walang belt. May tinatanong ka, number of belts. So, 0 ang number of belt natin. So, hinipan lang natin yung pulley, umiikot na siya. Okay? Walang pwede, ha? O sabihin natin, sir, invisible yung number of belt. Di pwede yan. So, pag wala, assume it to be equivalent now to 1 or the value, this one, yung unang-una. Lowest value, yung unang-una. Palagay natin, dito tumama yung unang-una. Pag dito naman sa kabila, yung sa baba, yung pinaka last na value. Okay? Or you can use 1. Pwedeng 1. Okay? Yung pwedeng 1, you can use 1. Pwede yan. That's okay. No problem, ha? Tandaan natin. Alright, now. Okay, kuha?
Sir, for ano ba lang? Cross-belt lang?
Alin? No, open. Cross belt. Depende. So you can use a cross belt, open belt. Depende. Di ba?
Sir, pag yung pagkakakante sa taas,
Yung pinakaunang-una sa taas, ano, galing sa baba. Kung nasa baba ka, yung pinakahuli. Or, pwedeng 1. Okay, you can use 1, ha? Pwedeng 1. So, mas safer, 1 na lang. Pwede, para sigurado. Okay, now. So, after you have now computed for the corrected rated horsepower, using the equation, we can determine the number of strands. When we talk about number of strands, it requires us to determine the number of ilang belt ang gagamitin. Yung design HP, which is that, divided by the corrected, which is that. Yun ngayon ang number of the strand. Now, malagay natin, ang number of the strand, posing ha, the number of the strand becomes like this. So, number of the strand. Supposing ha, na-compute natin, let's say 5.4 belt. Okay, ha? Supposing lang. Assume ha? Supposing na-compute natin na number of belt is 5.4. Wala tayong 5 belt, tapos 0.4. Okay, ibig sabihin, mayroong limang buo, tapos kalahati lang yung isa. Walang gano'n, eksakto. Okay? So, pwede natin i-apply siya. Gawin mo na lang, 6 belt. Okay? You can use, 6 belt. Okay? Dahil full number palagi ang belt number natin. Di ba? Wala naman tayong belt number na merong butal. Kaya nga, palagi siyang full number. So, nasa discretion na rin yun. Pwedeng mababa, pwedeng maliit. O konti lang. Depende. Okay? So, that is now what we term as the number of strands. Okay? So, going back to this one. Going back to this. Okay? Sabi kanina, sabi natin, this one is supposed to be the output horsepower. Diba? Transmitted eh. But, sometimes, if in case, in the problem or in the design, the output horsepower was not given, what do you use? You use always the RPM or the horsepower of the driving motor. Okay? So again, if in case the transmitted or the output horsepower is not stated in the problem and you cannot determine that, okay? You always you can use the horsepower of the driving motor. Pwede yan. Okay? Horsepower driving motor. Pero kung given sa inyong transmitted, you use the transmitted one. Okay? Yun lang. Alright, now, so going back to this, ito ngayon yan, number of strands. Now, since you have adjusted the length or probably the size of the pulleys, you need to correct the center line distance. Kaya minsan, yung binibigay na center line distance, sometimes is not the corrected one. Approximate lang siya kasi pwede tayong mag-adjust. So you can correct the center line distance by using this particular equation. Again, this is taken from your textbook. Okay? So C will be equal to B plus square root of B squared minus 32. The difference in diameter squared all over 16. Okay? Now, ano yung B natin yan? That B represents this one. Okay, 4L minus 6.28 summation of the two diameter. Now, this is again taken from our textbook. Small letter B or big letter B, the same. Now, so ano ngayon yung tinatawag natin na L? L is what we term as the pitch length of the belt. Take note that nung una, nakakompute na tayo ng length of belt. Okay? Now, nung ginamit natin table 17.7, nagkaroon tayong standard length designation. So, what's the difference of this one? Okay, pitch length of the belt. When we talk about the pitch length of the belt, pag sinabi natin pitch length, okay? So, the pitch length of belt, okay? Ito yung tinatawag natin na true length of belt. Okay? Hindi pa ito. Hindi pa ito. O yun dito. This is the standard. Ibig sabihin, yan lang ang basis natin. But you have to determine the true length of the belt. Okay? Now, how do you determine that? If you go back to table 17.3 of your textbook, sa table 17.3, alright, ito yun. So, kailangan alam mo yung section ng belt. Alright. This is na table 17.3. So, bawat isa na yan, meron siyang sariling number o value. Okay? This one represents now the pitch length of the belt. Okay? Ito yung pitch length natin. Okay? Now, but before you can determine the pitch length, you need to determine first what we term as the belt number. So, yung nasa right side, yung A, 26, B, 35, and so on. These are what we term as the belt number. And corresponding to each belt number is the pitch length of the belt. Yun ang ibig sabihin. Now, paano natin malalaman yung pitch length natin? Kaya kailangan alam nyo muna yung tinatawag natin na belt number. Alam muna natin yung belt number, and then corresponding to that is the pitch length of belt. Okay, now, how do we determine the belt number? Okay, alright. Diba, nung K sub L natin, paano natin kinuha yung K sub L? Kinuha natin first yung standard length designation. Diba? So remember that value that you have used doon sa standard length designation. Okay, palagay natin, ha? Doon sa table 17.6, ang ginamit natin, palagay natin A section. A section na lang, ha? Palagay natin, ang ginamit ko 90. Doon sa case of, doon sa ano, table 17.6, ginamit ko 90. Kasi palagay natin, ito. Ang kinompute ko rito, let's say, sabihin natin 89. Okay, kung palagay lang natin, ha, 89 lows dito. So, nung pumunta ako ng table 17.7, wala siyang 89. So, 77, wala siyang 80. Ang pinakamalapit ay 90. So, 90. So, 90 standard length designation. Now, ang gawin mo lang ganito. Okay? Yung belt number, will be this one. Kung alam mo yung section, let's say section A, at alam mo yung standard length designation na kinuha mo rito, na kinuha natin, 90. Diba? So, pagsamahin nyo lang yung dalawang yan, yung tinatawag natin na belt number. Okay? Now, yung belt number na yan, let's say A90, meron siya dito sa table 17.3. So, hanapin mo yung A90. Yun. Okay? A90. Corresponding to A90 is what? 91.3. So, 91.3 is the true length of the belt. So, ibig sabihin, yung 90 natin dito, yan ang basis lang natin. Okay? And then, the correct length of the belt is 91.3. So, yun ang gagamitin mo ngayon dun sa equation na 4L. So, 4 times the true length of the belt, and so on. Then, knowing the value for B, we can determine the corrected center line distance. Okay, now, so ano yung importansya? What's the importance of the belt number? Okay, you want to buy a V-belt because the V-belt that you're using was, kasi naputol na. Okay, nakat siya. So, dalawa na. So, anong ginagawa natin? Pag bibili tayo ng belt na yan, the same belt. Diba? Dadali natin yung sample doon sa auto supply shop. So, meron ba kayong ganito? Diba? So, putol na eh. Ano gagawin ng supply shop? So, kukuha siya ng kapareho. Pagdutungin niya muna yan, kukuha siya ng na halos kapareho. Pag pumasok sa loob, yun na yun. But actually, you don't need to bring that. You need to determine what? Kailangan sabihin mo, alam mo lang yung belt number. Let's say A90. So, kailangan ko ng A90. Bibigay siya A90, eksakto na yan. Yan na yan. So, hindi mo na kailangan dalhin pa yung nasirang belt. Alam mo lang yung belt number. Kasi standard na yan. Okay? So, these are the standard commercial sizes of the belt. A90, alam na kagad nilang gagawin dyan. Kaso, ang problema, hindi naman nila alam yun. Pero makikita niyo yan. Pag binasa niyo yung belt, nakalagay doon. May number doon, nakalagay. A90 nakalagay. So, yun lang. Gagawin kasi nun, dugtungin, hahanap ng tatagal pa. A90 lang yan, yun na yun. Okay, eksakto na yan. Right? So, that is how we determine your L or what we term as the pitch length of the belt. And then from that, you can get now the corrected center length distance. Now, what if the center length distance is not given? So, pag hindi, pwede man natin computein yung minimum center line distance. You can use that. It's taken also from your textbook. Okay? So, this is how we compute for the minimum center line distance. Pwede mong gamitin yung diameter of the larger pulley as a minimum center line distance, or you use the other equation. Okay? D1 plus C2 over 2 plus D1. Okay? So, it's either. Ano yung mas malaki? Gamitin mo na lang. Right? So, that's now. Now, if you have computed for the center line distance by using this equation, you have to correct that. Kasi ito ay approximate. This one. Okay, this is an approximate center line distance. So, you need to correct that by using this one. Okay, correct palagi natin ang belt natin. Okay? So, everything is corrected to the desired condition. So, therefore, in a flat belt or a V-belt, this is how we design the V-belt. We are dependent upon, okay, the table. Now, what if, di ba, sa problem natin sa flat belt, tinatanong tayo, ano ba yung diameter ng pulley? Okay? Now, in flat belt or in a V-belt, you can determine also, okay, the sheave diameter. You go to table 17.3 also. Because that table will also give you the minimum sheave diameter for each section of the belt. Meaning, for each section of the belt, okay, you have the corresponding minimum sheave diameter. Ano ibig sabihin ng minimum? Pag ginamit mo siya, okay, na minimum, hindi ka pwedeng bumaba yan. That is the minimum, pwede kang yan ang gamitin, pataas ang size, hindi pwedeng pababa. Okay, because for each section of the belt, you can have the minimum sheave sizes. And also, okay, doon sa pinakamababa, these are the different standard sizes of the sheave. Pwede kang mamili rito. Okay, doon sa pulley sizes natin. These are the standard pulley sizes. So, minimum standard pulley sizes that you have. Okay? So, these are now the tables and equations that you can use in terms of a belt. Okay? Hindi natin pwedeng hulaan yan kasi depende yan sa table. How do you compute for the arc of contact? Same equation as we are using in terms of a flat belt. That one. Okay? Arc of contact. If you want to compute for the arc of contact between the belt and the pulley, use that. Okay? It's either a cross belt or an open belt. Okay? Okay? So, yan ha. So, medyo mahaba yan kasi marami tayong table na ginagamit. Okay. So, next meeting,